friends, and welcome to the beginning of the intermediate part of the Spring 2010 Learning Center semester. My name is Igal Zahavi.
My name is Richard.
And we're coming to you from Toronto. And today is the beginning of the Rabash articles part of the course, of the intermediate course. First of all, we would like to congratulate you on making it to this point.
Yes.
It requires a lot of effort, and you should be proud of yourselves. And as always, before we do anything, we read an intention, because that sets the focus of what we want to get out of this. We're not here just simply to read or study or anything like that. We're here actually to connect and to draw the light. And so, Richard, can you set the atmosphere for us?
And it's only fitting. The title is called "Intention During the Study."
Great.
Okay. It is necessary to concentrate on the following before the lesson. Right now, I am beginning a lesson with the group. I want to feel the entire world clean, like all of us together are attacking the source. I want to be inspired enough to remain in the same frame of mind and feeling for the rest of the day, so that everything that I will do during the day remains external to me. The imprint within myself should become me, the world Kli, and a connection with the Creator. Coming from this place, I communicate with the outside world, and thus it really becomes external to me. This is how the intention, the feeling, and the prayer have to be before the lesson. Me, through the group, through the Kli, with the Creator.
Thank you, Richard. And just a reminder before we proceed that your questions are very, very important. They make a very big part of the lesson. They actually make the lesson.
Yes.
So don't hesitate to ask. Please make it related to the material we're going to cover. But don't hesitate for even a nanosecond. If you have anything that you want to ask, anything that comes up, anything, and you too, Richard, and me too. So that's really the salt of the lesson, those questions. Right. And all the Kabbalists, the weight, or the instructors, teachers, they always wait for those questions. Those are the jewels, the diamonds. Okay, now that we've settled that, what are we covering today? Today we are reading an article by Rabbi Baruch Ashlag, or Rabash, he's called Rabash. And today we're reading from page 291, The Purpose of Society, from Kabbalah for the Student. I'm pretty sure you already have this book handy, either the hardcover or the PDF version of it that you can download from our website. Or if you still don't have it by chance, the link is provided on the Learning Center schedule page. So you can go to the calendar and look for the look for today's class. Open that up, and there's a link there on the related materials. Now, why is this part of the semester, this intermediate part of the semester, dedicated entirely to the articles of Rabash? Well, the reason being is that this material that Rabash is revealing to us, related to the group work, the group's interaction, is very, very unique and special, that has never been revealed before. And in fact, the way these articles are written is very, very interesting also. Rav Michael Lightman told us that back in approximately 88 or so, when he was studying with Rabash after a year or two, he asked, okay, how do I progress? So Rabash told Rav Michael Lightman, well, you need a group. You need others to study with you. So Rav Michael Lightman went out and he somehow recruited students. He got students to come in. So he got him to come in, and they were going to, meet that night. And during the day, in the afternoon, he was walking with Rabash in the park, strolling as they usually did, almost daily. And he asked him, "Okay, fine. I have the students, I have my fellow mates, and so on. And okay, well, now what?" So Rabash said, "Okay, fine. Now you need this article." So he took out the foil from the cigarette package, or it was a Kleenex or something like that, and he jotted down either this or the other article, The Purpose of Society. So this is a very, very special article. It's one of these first unique articles that was revealed to humanity. It's an actual gateway revealing to the masses what is precisely the methodology. Before, it was sort of concealed in this Kabbalistic terminology, in very sort of technical roots and branches language. But here you have actual articles that actually tell you what you need to do. Okay, and that's the novelty, that's the uniqueness of this. And now that you've covered the concepts, the basic fundamentals of Kabbalah, and you had a little taste of it, and we hope that you've kind of realized that this is really unique, really special, and it's worth pursuing. It's worthy of further attention. So now comes the application of those concepts. Yeah. So that is why we are dedicating this part of the semester entirely to these types of articles that give us the nuts and bolts of what we need to do in order to advance, to enter the spirituality. And that is why the topic of the class is society as a means of spiritual advancement. Okay? So, do you have anything to add to that, Richard?
I just got goosebumps. You telling me that story. I mean, that's incredible, the feeling and the way you described it. Jeez.
Yeah, it's this whole section in this book called it's called the whole section is called "A Society as a Condition for Attaining Spirituality." It begins on page 239, and all these articles from 239 to 311 are dedicated to this particular work. So, without further ado,
all right, let's
dive in.
There. Yes. So again, Purpose Society, page 291. Since man is created with a kli called self-love, where one does not see that an act will yield self-benefit, one has no motivation to make even a tiny movement. And without knowing self-love, it is impossible to achieve the acute adhesion with the Creator, meaning equivalence of form.
Okay, so this nature that is present within us is given to us from above, and it has a very specific purpose, i.e., the goal of creation is to create a creature filled with delight. So there's nothing wrong with feeling pleasure, with feeling this delight. It's actually the purpose of creation. The problem, if you will, is that the way the system is created, that to start with, there is disparity of qualities. Remember, in the fourth phase of the direct light, the light creates a creature, fills it, and then within this feeling, the world of infinity, the creature feels that it is opposite to the Creator. Mm-hmm. That it needs to be filled with the light, and yet there is a conflict because it feels the shame.
Right.
So the remedy was that the creature would remain with its nature, which is to receive pleasure. Mm-hmm. The kli remains; it's not erased. But the objective is to erect an intention above of this desire, an intention of bestowal. So the creature is still filled with light, but for a completely, entirely different reason, with a completely different intention, with intention to bestow. So the goal of creation is not just adhesion. The goal of creation is adhesion because that fulfills the purpose of creation, whereas where the creature is filled 100% infinitely with the light. And it cannot be done with a negatistical intention, because that implies a finite desire, and as soon as the pleasure begins to enter that desire, it begins to diminish it.
Right.
So, for example, if you're partaking of food, that very first bite when you're hungry, that's the greatest amount of pleasure.
Yes.
And with every bite, the pleasure decreases, lower, lower, because you become filled, and the desire diminishes. In the spiritual, it is opposite. It works the other way around, because the reception is not for yourself. The reception is for the Creator. It just passes through you. And actually what happens, with every bite, the desire grows and grows and grows. So you want more to give, more to give. And then the creature and the Creator enter into this infinite loop of reception, bestowal to each other. And that is that infinite delight. Now, so what he's saying, that initially the creature is created with this intention of self-love, where it cannot move, it cannot lift a finger if it doesn't see that there is benefit for itself, that there's some kind of a reward. Everything that it does, that we do, there's a program running within us that calculates. It subconsciously, it evaluates. Okay, if I move this way towards Richard, for example, what is my cost in terms of exertion of effort? Okay, and it, subconsciously it calculates.
Yeah.
Do I really want to move towards Richard?
Do I stink?
No. But on the other hand, it calculates. Well, I'll feel more comfortable, and it weighs this, right? And I'll feel more comfortable. It'll be more. It's better for me. Move. But if the cost of moving towards Richard was greater than the perceived benefit, we would never. None of us would be able to move. It is that strong. It's that forceful. So that is the dilemma. This is the issue. That we need to somehow override this program. This operating system within us, and we cannot do it within us by ourselves, because any action that we do within this program, by implication, cannot override itself. So, what is the remedy?
I wanted to go back to that.
Okay.
That scenario, the example you had with the first bite, and afterwards it diminishes. So if we go back to that example, like, what's one way of filling the diminish? Say I grab one bite, say there's a pie and there's 6 pieces, maybe I give to one friend, another friend, and then see the enjoyment of each one of them. Would that still be considered egoistical, or is that?
Well, yes. All the actions.
Yeah.
We're not really talking about the corporeal.
Yeah.
Because we're all these articles, all of the Kabbalistic texts, they only talk about the spiritual realm.
Okay, so no.
And there's actually a disconnection. Okay. There's a disconnection between the spiritual and the corporeal. A lot of methodology. Let me get the right marker here. Okay. A lot of methodologies, actually every other methodology other than Kabbalah, everybody doesn't write. Everybody says, there is this spiritual realm, and corporeal. Okay? And all the other methodologies, they say, well, there's almost like a linear connection. The spiritual sort of descends into the corporeal, and actions in the corporeal can be spiritual. In other words, you can say the argument is that corporeal items can contain some holiness within them.
Right.
So raw contain holiness. something, if we do some kind of a physical action with our hands, whatever it is, can have some kind of effect. That is not what Kabbalah says. Kabbalah says that there's actually a complete separation between the two, disconnection. There's an abyss here. You can't just start walking this way, right? And then saying, if I keep walking, I will enter the spiritual. The way it works is that you need a quantum leap from here to here. You need a completely different nature.
Okay.
In other words, this is what it, if you read the next paragraph also.
Okay, let's go with that.
The second one.
And since it is against our nature, we need a society that will form a great force so we can work together on annulling the will to receive, called evil, as it hinders the achievement of the goal for which man was created.
So, this is what it means, that quantum leap, that way of passing from here to here, is that great force. And that is the society. You need some kind of a force outside of our nature, because within ourselves, within this program, we're locked within it. We can't even look outside of it. Mm-hmm. So we can't pull ourselves up by our hair. Something that is outside of the system has to enter and pull us out. And that is the quantum leap. It's a completely different quality or nature. There has to be, if you will, it has to be an upload of a new program, a new way of perceiving things. And so you basically kind of walk this way, reach this dead end, you can't go further. Impossible. There's nothing you can do to go. You need an upgrade, a leap forward, or a leap of faith above reason.
Okay.
And then you just show up here. Then with this extra sense, you find yourself on the other side of the spiritual. The way it actually works is that when you have a point in the heart, which is desire, it's desire to bestow. I'm going to change the marker here. Where you want to acquire this property of the Creator, which is to give unconditionally with absolute love. And this desire, this particular desire, is a connection to the spiritual, because there's a corresponding point here. Now, I'm not going to draw a line, because this will give us sort of an idea that there's some kind of a linear connection. It's not. It's a connection of qualities, in terms of qualities. And that is the only connection that there is. So there's nothing in the corporal that you can do, such as, dieting. What else can you do? Help the environment. All sorts of corporal rituals. Yeah. There's a lot of religions involved in a lot of rituals. Meditation, starvation, killing others, loving others to death, all sorts of things. And we know over the years humanity has done a lot of crazy things in its attempt to enter the spiritual. No luck. The only thing that we see is a lot of destruction and suffering in its wake. But with Rabash, the true key gateway is revealed to us. That is it's through this leap from this desire to bestow. When you begin to nurture it with the help of society, as Rabash says here, you acquire that property of bestowal, and that property of bestowal is that sensation in that desire to bestow is the spiritual realm. In other words, there's one reality. The spiritual is all around us. The light is all around us, is going through us, bombarding us, just like, for example, all sorts of particles, physical particles are bombarding us, neutrinos, whatever you want to call them. Same thing with the light. But it's resonating on a different frequencies that doesn't
catch the same signal.
interact with us.
Yeah.
Okay? And by changing our internal qualities, i.e., developing that point in the heart, we begin to change internally, and that's another uniqueness, revelation of this methodology. That all the changes happen within us. There's nothing outside that we have to fix. We don't fix other friends. We don't fix other people. Nothing corporeal and outside that needs to be fixed. Really, everything is connected to this intention within us. It's egoism or altruism. And the more we acquire the property of altruism, we change our perception and we begin to actually resonate on the same frequency as the light around us, and we begin to perceive the spiritual. And that is that quantum leap into the spiritual. It's all a matter of perception and reality, equivalence of form with the Creator. Now, to get this quantum leap requires force to pull us up by our hair. And that force comes from the society. Okay, is there any questions?
Yeah, we actually got a couple, which is very good. We have one from Yoel from New York.
Hi, Yoel.
If there is no connection or spirituality in the corporeal, how would it be possible for us to have physical bodies to be able to make any spiritual attainments?
The physical body is the perception of our part of the soul when it is in 100% in the state of 100% ego. So everything that we see around us, the five sensors exist or are operational, if you will, because we are in 100% egoism. And that's how the light is perceived as this corporeal world. It is designed this way in order to give us freedom of choice, an opportunity to attain the Creator out of our own effort, so that there's no interference, and that we feel that we've attained it. Because if we want to attain, the Creator is perfection. Everything that He does has perfection written all over it. I know it doesn't seem like there's perfection in the world right now, yeah. But the system is built up in a way that the creature can literally attain equivalence with the Creator, to be on the same level in intention, for all intents and purposes. And for this reason, there has to be this absolute separation for the Creator, a sensation of total concealment, as though there's no Creator. And then only in this state of disconnection, when the point in the heart is developed, that desire to bestow, to be like the Creator, to have the status of the Creator, to bestow just like Him, without any regard for any benefit for ourselves, that desire, it's a root, it's a manifestation of the spiritual in us, as far as we're able to perceive it, feel it. And then if we are able to focus and grow it and develop it, nurture it, this desire grows, and of course that we need the society, an environment, the group to help us, because we need that force. We can't do it on our own because of that resistance we get from our nature. And if that desire is so great, this in itself creates a kli, and it's almost like a law. It is a law of nature. Yeah. It triggers the acquisition of an intention. The desire to bestow pulls down the screen, the sixth sense.
Good question. We got Misty from Hawaii.
Hi, Misty.
Hi, Misty.
Hawaii.
Yeah. So you got the signal.
It's just as hot from. Yeah. It's hot here. It's very hot here in Toronto, probably like in Hawaii now.
Yeah. It's humid here. Is it right to say that we cannot use other egoistical cleas to bestow altruistically? Does giving to another ego only feed our own ego?
I'm not sure what the question means. Can you read it again?
Is it right to say that we cannot use others' egoistical cleas to bestow altruistically? Does giving to another's ego only feed our own ego? So if I were to give my ego, give an ego of another, I guess, does it boost my ego as well, or is it? Am I doing it just for the sake of myself, or
let's put it this way: before the screen, before we acquire the actual intention, the actual sixth sense, all of our actions are egotistical. Okay, but there are two types of egotistical actions. One is when you are completely immersed in a desire, and the desire is you. There's no separation. Whatever desire awakens with you, you immediately run to fulfill it, and you don't even realize that there's this program running within you. Okay, and that is one egoism, that type of egoism that really will never lead to anything unless that point in the heart awakens. Another type of egoism is you still act within your ego, but at the same time you have a realization, and this is what we call realization of evil. You're sort of sitting in the theater, you can't do anything about it, you're watching the movie, right? You're acting, your desire pops up, you run to fulfill it, but at the same time you feel that you're doing it for yourself. Mm-hmm. You're beginning to connect to that other another parameter, another source of information about your actions. In other words, certain pleasure comes to you. This is your vessel. Okay. Certain pleasure comes to fill you. In the corporeal, of course, it never enters the kli. It just sort of touches and escapes. Now, in the first type of egoism, you just feel the pleasure, and that's it, nothing else. And this is just the main pleasure. Or, let's put it, just the pleasure itself. Now, the second type of ego, you're still feeling this, you still want that, but you feel something within it. You're feeling the other parameter, okay, within it. You're beginning to connect, on whatever level it is, that there is some kind of a thought from the upper. There's some kind of a message hidden within this plain pleasure. And this is, of course, coming from the Creator, the thought of creation. And you notice, you begin to pay attention to this also. Okay? And if you will, this is connected to the point in the heart. So you still, this big arrow is the heart, and the thought within it is the sort of the point in the heart. And you begin to realize that there is this program within you. Yes, I'm doing everything egotistically, but right now but at the same time, I want something to happen. I want to do something about it. Mm-hmm. That despite of all these pleasures that I want, I also want to change the intention.
So eventually, that you continue doing it, and it does not become egoistical afterwards. It changes afterwards. Eventually.
Yes.
Yeah.
You build that critical mass of a desire, mm-hmm. for the bestowal, And eventually what happens is that this part, the inner part, becomes the primary source. If the desire, initially the desire is everything we do, and this is sort of the secondary, the afterthought, then with the screen, the thought or the intention is primary. This is what we want to work with. And the pleasure itself is used in order to satisfy the intention to bestow.
Yes.
Because you can't have an intention to bestow without reception.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Good question. That was a good question. Okay, wow, we got a whole bunch now. A question from a student. The will to receive is called evil. Is the meaning of this word evil something different than what we know, or it's the same? So they're referring to the evil that we corporately heard, the name evil.
No, the Kabbalistic the Kabbalistic definition of evil is egoism. Any action that you do, the intention is to fulfill yourself, to use others for your own intention. That's what the ego is. Before we go any further, I think we should watch this clip by Rav Michael Leitman. It is from from May the 20th lesson about this article. We recommend that you watch the whole lesson. It's very, very powerful, very worthwhile, and we will tell you more about it, how to watch it. But in the meantime, let's watch this 5-minute clip where he talks a little bit more about what the work and the group and the spiritual job is all about. So let's watch. Roll this clip. It's about 5 minutes. Don't wait till it finishes. If you have any questions, post them right away. So we'll see you in about 5 minutes.
The goal is to achieve bestowal in the love of others, and through it, to achieve the love of the Creator, meaning to love the attribute of bestowal and love. To want to connect and to cleave on to this attribute, to live in it, to be in it. Is this the goal which is acceptable for us? This is the first thing. If so, then whoever agrees, then we'll see to which extent does he agree or does not agree, corresponding to his own ability to be in a group, where then everyone has to put together their small powers. Each one has a small force that he was given, the point in the heart given to him from above. Then each one puts in his relative force. No one by his own has the power to cross into spirituality, into self-love, into loving of others, into loving the Creator. Can't cross. But if he is in a group where he relinquishes his selfness, his self-love, in order to get the power from the group, in order to achieve the goal. Turns out that by relinquishing himself towards the group, he takes a step towards the goal, because he annuls his ego, his selfness, in order to receive from the group the power to bestow. So already he is working in order to come out. So the work with respect to the group and the work and working to come out from corporeality into spirituality, this opening, it's the same work. So what does it mean, the group as a means? The group is a means, not that it comes and performs some work on you, like with a pair of squeezers or whatever, but like a key. But it is a means with which you can work as a spiritual entity before you. It is a corporeal society, but in your attitude towards it, towards the collection of our forces, we invert it, we turn it into spirituality. Where do we build the spiritual kli? inside ourselves, inside the group. You need to rise to some place or whatever inside our group in this kind of attitude where each one annuls himself and gives his point in the heart to the general assembly of points. By this we build the spiritual kli. It's truly inside us. Therefore, the group is considered to be a means. Why a means? Nonetheless, because as I engage in it, this is the means through which I receive the force many times greater than I invest with my own point, and I get from them this entire general great force. And when this general force, I'm not going anywhere. It's not that I turn to the group, I've taken powers from there and I'm going someplace, but in that same place where I've found the connection and I have found our mutual force, in that very place, spirituality is revealed to me. Only that sometimes we say that then you turn to the Creator, and as if spirituality is some different place, but it's a more internal place. It's inside the group, between ourselves, by each of us turning towards the group, revealing this mutual force. Inside this mutual force, we discover the mutual power of bestowal and love, and there on the spot where I reveal it, as I put in my single point in the heart, I reveal dozens of points in the heart. So in the connections between us, we reveal a force, because we have annulled ourselves down below, our entire avyut, our entire beastliness, our donkeys are down below, and we are above them, connected. Therefore, in the group, we have this great big force, 620 times greater, so-called. And then
that force of overcoming the avyut become zakut, purity, in addition to the point in the hearts. The point in the hearts we receive from above, but self-annulment everyone has done, and connection with everyone else also, each one has done it. And then it is considered that by that we assembled a new kli, what did not exist prior to the breaking. And then within that kli, we are revealing the mutual quality of bestowal between us, and within it the Creator is revealed. What does it say? Therefore the society must be integrated of individuals who unanimously agree to achieve it, that they must achieve it. To what? To bestowal, to adhesion with the Creator, which is one of the same.
Very powerful clip. There, right there you have a clear expression of what that spiritual vessel is, that kli. It's the connection with others. And you need the group to feel it, to build that kli. And then, so it's very, very practical, because the exit into the spiritual has to be a very tangible place that you can aim and go for, right? If you're sort of on your own and imagining all sorts of things, well, you can imagine that you already God yourself, right? But when you are working in a group, it's a practical place, a practical mirror that you can see where you are. Now let's read a few. We have a lot of questions, which is great.
Yeah.
Keep them coming. Yeah. But let's read the next two paragraphs, and we'll again. I want to go into this part of the group and the connection, and why it's the connection.
Sure, you're saying. Okay, let's get going. For this reason, society must consist of individuals who unanimously agree that they must achieve it. Then, all the individuals become one great force that can fight it against itself, since everyone is integrated in everyone else. Thus, each person is founded on a great desire to achieve the goal. To be integrated in one another, each person should annul himself before the others. This is done by seeing the friends' merits and not their faults. But one who thinks that he's a little higher than the friends can no longer unite with them.
This is extremely powerful. Yeah. And why society? why do individuals unanimously have to agree to achieve it? Achieve what? Then the individuals become one great force that can fight against itself. Fight against what? What is there to fight? And what's this thing about integrated in everyone else? And then each person is founded, thus each person is founded on a great desire to achieve the goal. This great desire. What is this great desire? Integrated into one another. Each person should annul himself before the others. This is done by seeing the friend's merits. Why? Why do you need to see the friend's merits and not their faults? And then if you think that you're higher than your friends, then you can no longer unite with them. But why? What's this unification? What is the background of this? What is the foundation of this? Why is this you just making this up? Well, the fact of the matter is that in order to overcome this nature, or to fix, right? This is what this part of the semester is. That in the fundamentals we learned about the basic concepts. That there is such thing as faith above reason, freedom of choice, equivalence of form, ego, evil, whatever you want to call it. And we sort of tasted the waters, and now we say, yes, there is this evil. Yes, I want to correct it. But what is it exactly? What is it exactly that we have to fix? Mm-hmm. And we need to be very precise here. We need to know exactly what needs to be fixed. Because if we don't know what it is that we're aiming for, then we can invent a lot of things, as has been done up to now with all sorts of religions and spiritual paths. So we need to be very, very clear what is that has to be fixed. What happened? What is the corruption? And how? Once we know what needs to be fixed, then we can begin to apply methods of fixing it. Right? There's no point trying to apply all sorts of fixes if you don't know what you want to fix. Right? You're just shooting in the dark. So the crux of the matter is it all leads to the breaking of the vessels. If you recall, there was the thought of creation. Creates a kli, fills it. You have the world of infinity. Within this world of infinity, the creature, which is this, senses tremendous shame and makes a decision to separate itself from the Creator, to conceal. And through a series of steps, there is the so-called breaking of the vessels, where this collective soul, this Adam Harishon, shatters into little pieces. So we can draw it like this, with tiny, tiny squares denoting individual souls, or we can draw it as dots, where in each one of them the light just sort of approaches but never enters, because this state is 100% ego. And in this state, the souls cannot feel the light, because there's total inequivalence of form. This is the shattering of the vessels, where each one of them is just cares about itself. It's the I. It doesn't feel each other. These parts do not feel each other. So this is where we find ourselves. We're living in this world, even though we have a lot of people and we sort of pretend that we like each other and love each other. But when push comes to shove, let go my ego. If I'm hungry, I'm not going to share. And no one else is. And we've seen many cases where bad things happen when there's scarcity of resources. And Yes, you're going to have arguments that even in certain cases people give up their lives, but it's all within the system of obtaining some kind of a reward, where you feel that by doing this action you're getting something, honor, or maybe a place in the world to come. Mm-hmm. But there is no such thing within the system that we're in, that we can do any action altruistically without really expecting something in return. So this is the correction. This is the corruption. That each one of us separated and cares only about themselves. Each one has separated into a separate I and feel and sees only itself, its own desires. It doesn't care about anything else. And because of this separation, the light has nowhere to go. And once we know exactly what the situation is, that the desires, the little parts, have shattered and separated from each other, well, the answer as to the fix is very simple. You have to reconnect them.
Yes. Yes.
And how are these reconnected? They are opposite each other. They can't touch each other because each one has its own I, 100% ego. They can't even contact each other. So how do you reconnect? Richard?
Title? Purpose Society.
Yes. You use the society to immerse yourself, to overcome your self-love. And now, in this context of once we've defined exactly what is the problem and what needs to be done, we understand all these terms such as connection, unite, see friends' merits. Why? Because each one of our friends has a point in the heart, and then it's clothed in all sorts of corporeal characters that we perceive. Yeah. And actually that's a reflection of our own ego. Mm-hmm. But that point in the heart is actually a part of the Creator from above. Each one of us that has a point in the heart, that point in the heart is that desire to bestow is a little part of the Creator. And that's why the shattering had to happen, because the heart, which is the malchut, the aviyut of the desire, had to have some kind of idea of what it means to bestow. That's why it had to be mixed with the point in the heart. And once it's mixed, and once these two properties are mixed, by reconnecting, then the whole heart is also corrected as well. All the egotistical desires are also corrected. They get an intention to bestow. So that is our task, to reunite. But our nature, as he says here, prevents us from reuniting. But if we apply these principles of immersing ourselves in the society, we get that force to overcome this repulsing egotistical force.
Because we can't do it ourselves. We need the group.
Yes.
We need the society. We always go stray off path, and then
we naturally want to separate and be on their own, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And this is what the society is moving towards. Everybody has their own TV in their homes, their internet. Yeah. Sometimes people, I know they live in the same house, but they'd rather email to each other. They'd rather stay in their own rooms and email to each other, other than talk. So that's the sort of the phenomenon that's happening now. People rather be apart.
That's right.
Any kind of contact creates friction.
Yes.
On a global level and then on an individual level. Mm-hmm. And the methodology is all about going above this, overlooking the corporeal attributes and only focusing on the point in the heart, connecting with those points in the heart. And when you connect with the points in the heart, you are rebuilding. See, all of these connections rebuilds the soul. And that creates a network. And this is the actual kli for the light. In this connection, in this desire to unite with others, we feel the light. That's what gives us the status of the Creator. And that status of the Creator is that spiritual pleasure. It's not corporal stuff that we want. We want the status of the Creator. We'll talk about this. We'll elaborate on a lot of these concepts through the rest of the course. Yeah. There's a lot to go over. Any questions?
We have many points in the heart, so we have tons and tons here. So, Sandra from Kentucky.
Hi, Sandra.
Hi, Sandra. Does correction begin before or after we cross the barrier?
The actual correction, the actual science of Kabbalah, where you see the desires, you measure, weigh them, begins after the crossing of the masom. But there's before the masom is the preparatory work, very, very important, obviously. Work in concealment requires a lot of effort. Actually, it's the key work, the hardest work, because this is where you are require a lot of faith above reason, a lot of inner strength. That's why you need to connect with others. So once the point in the heart awakens, the effort begins.
Okay. So we got Isabel from Veracruz.
Hi, Isabel.
How can you join the desire to perceive the Creator with the desire to bestow to Him? So, in simpler, just say how can you become reach the Creator?
You have a desire. Yeah. A point in the heart awakens, and you begin to look all over of how to fulfill it. It's within you. It's a reshimo that's imprinted within you when the light was, when the vessel was descending down to this world. Slowly, as you search out, investigate, you begin to clarify exactly what it is, and the desire is within you. You're still hungry. It won't go away.
Right.
And then eventually, you with the study and the purifying of this desire, you begin to reveal to you more and more and more of what it really is, what is the core of this desire to perceive the Creator, and that is to bestow to Him. It's a natural progression that happens from the study.
Yeah.
Richard, what I'd like to do now is to show a clip about a special event that's going to happen July 23rd to July the 25th.
Yes.
We talked about how it is important to have some kind of a group.
Yes.
And
yes.
I think I saw a question about, is it a physical group? Is it a virtual group?
Right.
There's a lot of things to talk about it. What a group is, how do you build it, how you work within it, what it consists of. But there's a great opportunity to get a taste of what it could be, and it could be virtual or it could be physical. The event that we're talking about is called the Mega Congress. Now, before I go any further, the way to find out about it is you go to our main website, main portal, which is www.kabbalah.info, and look for the Mega Congress banner. Okay, write this down, www.kabbalah.info, and look for the Mega Congress banner. It's a weekend event where we meet virtually, we meet physically in certain cities. There's groups. So if you live close to one of those cities, you are more than welcome to join them. For example, if you live anywhere close to Toronto, we'd love to see you and have you with us for the weekend. It's a weekend of seminars, meals, connecting with other groups by intranet, lessons by Rav Michael Lightman. Tremendous opportunity to get a little feel of what the force of the group.
It's 40 countries as well, and everyone is connecting at the same time.
Around the world.
Around the world. Imagine that. Connecting at the same time.
The attraction of the light is unbelievable.
Yes.
Within this weekend, you have an opportunity to go through about 6 months of work on your own,
exactly.
at least.
Yeah.
So at this time, we like to show this clip about it, and let's talk about it further after. So can we roll the clip about the Mega Congress?
When you go to a Congress for the first time, it can be pretty overwhelming. A lot of things can sort of go over your head, and you get so tied up with your everyday life where people are sometimes unfriendly or involved in their own world that they're not paying attention to others, that you forget what it's like to connect with other people. And when you do, you feel an overwhelming sense of love because of these connection points of the heart. And that is an incredible experience, and it's so worthwhile.
You feel happy. You feel love. You feel together with everyone in that room, under that roof. You feel it, and it'll make you cry, it'll make you laugh, it'll make you jump, and it'll make you sing. And you'll do that because you won't be able to find the words to describe how you feel.
I described the Congress. It's almost, there's no word to describe it.
I'm feeling a great desire and a great love that I really haven't experienced outside of a Congress.
I felt joy and connection. That's what I felt. And I'd like to feel it again.
It's the love that you feel in people's hearts, that gathering, that bestowal, that feeling that everyone is together.
It's actually you. You have the kind of unlimited connection. It's like perfect. I will say it's like one. That's how you feel in there. You feel one.
We want to invite everybody to come and join us.
To get off the couch and come here and see what it's all about, because that's the only way you can actually feel it and be it.
Unless you come, you will never know.
You'll be a couch potato.
There's no decision to be made. You have to come. You have to go. Because if you sit by yourself, you can't grow. You can't get bigger. You can't get happier. You need to experience what this is like.
Very powerful clip. Again, it's students and groups coming around together all over the world in one powerful action. Worthwhile to be part of it.
Yeah.
Richard, any more questions?
We have so many questions that
that's good.
Definitely, if we don't answer, go to the forum and post them down there. We got Tel from DC. What should I want to get from this new semester? So we spoke about that briefly about comparison last semester and this semester. There's a lot of articles in this semester. And
what should I want to get from this?
What's the purpose of this semester from comparison from the previous one? Or,
I don't know. What do you want?
Yeah,
you have to ask yourself. What do you want from the study?
Is it the yearning, the feeling, or
what kind of a hunger do you feel?
Yes, that's it. Exactly, from within.
We don't want to, we don't want to
reveal too much.
No,
yeah,
it has to come from you.
Yeah.
From your own inner desire.
You have a strong desire. Good question. So we got next one, Beth from Virginia.
Hi, Beth.
Do we actually create the worlds of correction with our intention coupled with the whole community's intention? So the worlds, do we actually create the worlds of correction with our intention coupled with the whole community's intention?
Yes. The worlds, we actually recreate the worlds with our intention. That intention that we place, and we'll talk about it, that middle line, that we take those properties, and connect them, connect with others, that is actually the new creature that never existed before. These reconnections, they never existed before, because they're erected out of concealment, and this is us building a new, completely new creature of a new quality that the Creator never created. This is actually something out of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the true creature. Yes, and the worlds are all within us. It's our yes. Very, very good question.
Yep. Okay, and we got next one is Maresso from Chile.
Hi, Maresso.
What can we do to reach faster to quantum jump? What we discussed.
Study more, and take every opportunity where you can connect with others.
Yes.
Mega Congress. Come to the Mega Congress and you'll see.
Okay.
It'll give you a very good taste of clarify the methodology, the target a little bit more, like you cannot get from just these simple courses, classes.
Exactly.
We only have but 2 of these a year of the Mega Congress types.
Mm-hmm.
We have a few 2 gatherings in North America where everybody comes together, where Rav Michael Leitman comes from Israel and participates with us, and we have one such congress in Israel, and they're very, very important.
Yeah.
They're like these points on the trail that lead us further on.
We have a question here from a student. The quality of bestowal means that I should accept and be grateful for all that happens to me in order to give pleasure to the Creator.
Sounds very kind of clinical and theoretical.
Mm-hmm.
But can you really accept everything that happens to you? You know, the good and the bad. Be honest with yourself. Okay, we don't try to fool ourselves or pretend. It has to be a natural, genuine feeling. So imagine something bad happened to you. Can you really accept it, or is it just your defense mechanism? And furthermore, we'll clarify this a little bit later on. The correction is in the breaking of the vessels, is in the connection with others. Everything that happens in this corporal world is sort of designed to awaken us in order to focus on this type of work, to focus on this type of work. And the spiritual desires are these connections, actually. So this question is a good question. It requires a lot of explanation, but but it's too simple. It works out of revealing the evil within us, and it first starts when you attract the light. The light has to come first and reveal this connection where you are not able to stand. Your attitude towards society is opposite to what is bestowal is. And that's where the work begins.
All right. Okay, we got Sadid from Colombia.
Hi, Sadid.
So are we spiritual beings having human experiences or human beings having spiritual experiences?
I'm not sure what you mean, but we are...
It's a question that's twisted that we can answer so many ways. We're in our corporeal bodies, but
we are...
Everything's coming
we're a soul, if you will, that is in 100% concealment from the Creator, 100% ego, and because of that, we only have our 5 sensors, the corporeal sensors, and we perceive the light only through those 5 sensors as this corporeal world.
That's it. Yeah.
A very, very short answer. Richard, maybe we should do the announcements first because we're getting close to the...
That's right. We have a very exciting, it's a new show from Tony Koznick that's running the show, hosting it. It's a Kabbalah web TV channel. It's specifically for learning students as yourself. Learning Center students. And it's on Wednesdays and Sundays, 9:15 p.m. Eastern Time. So we're almost done. So all the students we encourage you to actually go there, and it's very good. You can post questions on the website. You can actually call in. I think you can call in, right? What's the phone number for that?
Yes. Here's the official announcement.
Yeah. So
we invite you to tune in to the brand new Kabbalah web TV channel at 9:15 Eastern, which is
we got in 15
about
minutes.
5-10 minutes. right
Yeah,
after
10
we
minutes.
finish here.
Yeah.
And it's every Sunday and Wednesday. You go to tv.kabbalah.info, which is right here. Can you show this? tvkabbalah.info.
tv.kabbalah.info. Okay.
And to watch live programming designed especially for students of the Learning Center. You can send messages, call in to the show live by phone or Skype, or submit a video message or
Actually,
question.
That's pretty cool, the video clip. Sending in a video clip so you can ask questions with that. I like that. Yeah.
And it's run by a special friend, Tony Kozinek.
Yes.
And today there's a special guest.
And who's that? Who's
Mike.
that guest?
Mike
Yes,
Kellogg.
Mike Kellogg from St. Louis.
Who students had the
Yes.
technical part with him, just completed. Okay. So another announcement is that your next class is on Sunday, and it's the preparation for the study of the Zohar. This course will only be taught at 5 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, which is, okay, you don't need the GMT time. Be sure to check what time it is in your time zone. So it's 5 p.m. Eastern, New York time. And another announcement is that our next fundamentals course, the one that you just completed, the summer 2010 semester, will start on Wednesday, August the 4th. Okay, so that's August the 4th. We encourage you to invite any of your friends or family who expressed an interest in Kabbalah or in a deep question about life. For more information and to register, visit www.kabbalahlearningcenter.info, which is the Learning Center website. So that's August the 4th. If you have any friends or family or anybody that you think might be interested in this course, in the fundamentals course, the one you just completed, a new semester starts August the 4th. Well, we have a lot of questions. Now, before the questions, before we go, we take up more questions. We want to give you a little exercise.
Oh, homework.
Okay, for next week. Now, your exercise is to actually watch the complete lesson by Rav Michael Leitman on this article, which is the May 20th article, 2010. You can find the link on the Learning Center schedule for July 7th for today. Just open up the link on the schedule for July 7th, and under supplementary material, you'll see a link to the lesson. And if you have time, watch it. It's about 50 minutes, not much. Then, for your own consideration, for your inner exercises, which is always good to do, try to answer or consider, why do you need a group? Okay? Why must it be in a group? Why is this advancement, this work, happens in a group and not on your own? Right? Why do you need friends or others? And it's only going to cause friction. And it's a nuisance. Right? Yeah. Problems, conflicts. Why can't you just be on your own and do all sorts of things? Whatever the Creator wants, we'll do. Mm-hmm. No problem. He wants me to give charity. He wants me to stand on my head. I'll do it. But why is it that you need to actually kind of connect with others in the group? So try to answer that based on what we did today and based on Rav Leitman's lesson. And then also, furthermore, answer the following question: how do you really annul yourself before your friend, before the other? What does it mean to annul? Now, hint: it's not eradicating your own desire. Okay? That's a big hint there. So how do you annul? And another question is, or another sort of caveat is, try to keep it on a spiritual plane, not to descend into the corporeal. Okay, so that's, again, try to work for yourself. Just try. It doesn't, you don't have to be 100% accurate. What is this spiritual versus corporeal? What exactly is the difference? What makes them different? Okay, so that's your exercise for next week.
Good homework.
Richard, we have I think we have 5 minutes.
Okay, let's
do the
rush through this. Victor from Homestead.
Hi, Victor.
How much time and space is there between the awakening of the point of the heart and crossing the barrier? So what's the time and space between?
I don't know what the space means.
Maybe the time, I guess. We'll just pertain to
Okay,
time
actually,
right
in the spiritual, there's no time.
now. No time. But
We know that we have a spiritual chromosome, which consists of the so-called reshimot, remembrances of the light within us. And as they awaken, each one awakens and gives us a different state. Okay? This is what's called time in the spiritual. So, you can, and each one requires realization, erecting of a screen, or building up of a different quality, acquiring quality of bestowal over it. The speed is how fast you go through them. It's not whether you're going through them. Can you skip any of this? You can't. You will go through all of them. But the question is how fast you will realize these reshimot, these states that awaken within you. We'll talk about a little bit more about this concept of a state within you. But this awakening of this chain of reshimot is what gives us a sensation of time. So you're asking how fast? It can be very fast. You can go through these very, very quickly.
it can vary. I mean, it just depends with the group, the assistants, everything, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but again, to sum it up, time and space is irrelevant when it comes to spirituality. Yeah. Okay, so maybe you can answer that yourself when you're going through the process. Lily from Montreal. So when all souls will be corrected, we will not have a physical body anymore.
That's right. Because when correction implies that we have placed an intention above all of our desires, and because there's no more any part of the desire that has an egotistical intention, which gives rise to the corporeal perception, then you don't need to perceive anything. There's no more perception of the corporeal within us.
That's right.
Good observation.
We got the Geraldo from Argentina.
Hi, Geraldo.
I'm studying Kabbalah since a few times ago. How can I do to go on if I have not a study group?
You don't have a physical study group, but we have a lot of opportunity for virtual study groups. I started with a virtual group many, many years ago. It was extremely effective, very helpful, and even after we started building a physical group here in Toronto, I still kept up with my virtual, and actually the virtual gave me more strength to continue.
Yeah, and then also the work with the dissemination work and all that. And it's the same thing like Mike in St. Louis.
That's right.
I mean, you've met up a few times at the congresses physically, but I mean, since then you kept the contact virtually for a long time.
All of our contact.
Yeah, strong connection.
Each one of us here is connected with friends all over the world, and sometimes more with people in other cities than with the people in our own physical group. So that does not matter. A group is the common intention, and it could be you can feel a friend because there's no time and space. You can feel a friend, so-called, on the other side of the earth, and work with them.
Yeah.
So don't despair. That this will be definitely clarified further for you.
Okay, we got Javier from Houston.
Hi, Javier.
How may a strong link rise among the members of a group if there is no physical contact?
Just like we mentioned, you'll be surprised how powerful a virtual connection can be. And Rav talks about it. Rav Lightman talks about it many, many times. Sometimes being in the physical group is a liability because you think that you are. You have it made.
Yes.
And actually, he said it many times to his students in Israel. He said, you think you're so advanced and you have it all made because you're here with me, but it could be actually working against you, and it could be better for you if you were on the other side of the earth studying on your own. So that does not matter. The key to realize that every situation comes from the Creator. There's none else beside Him. And everything is designed specifically, precisely to match the type of a correction, the type of a connection that your soul has to go through. Don't despair. Where you are is precisely where you have to be. Don't focus on this, that you have some kind of a handicap, disadvantage, that you're, I don't know where you are. It's actually for your own benefit. Go above it, ignore it, and actually focus on the desire that you want to come to the Hijra of the Creator. And continue to study with every opportunity, reasonable opportunity that you have, and you will see how things will clarify and fall in into their own place.
I think it's almost time to wrap up now.
Yes, we have to leave now.
And one last note, we'll see you at the tv.kabbalah.info
That's
now.
right, yeah. So switch over to there right now.
Okay.
Thank you greatly for your presence, for your desires, for your questions.
Homework.
And we'll see you all next week at the same time. Good night.
Bye.